fake or smiling with a scripted alibis. World's a theater winner all on cue. Directors in the dark deciding what's true. Flat earth theories hidden in plain sight. Moon landing faked under studio light. It's a fake facade, crumbling under the weight. News is propaganda served on a plate. New world order pulling all the strings. Alien cover-ups and secret kings. Rip off the mask, see the grand design. Conspiracy's the truth. Cross the line. Heart controlling weather from afar. Mind control waves from your smartphone star. Celebrities clones in a Hollywood plot. Elite bloodlines tying up the knot. Viruses engineered in labs unseen. Population control, that's the machine. Echoes of doubt in the silence of night. Question the narrative, ignite the fight. Break through the veil, expose the charade. Reality's a game they've overplayed. It's a fake facade, crumbling under the weight. News is propaganda served on a plate. New world order pulling all the strings. Alien cover-ups and secret kings. Rip off the mask, see the grand design. Conspiracy's the truth. Cross the line. Cross the line. Success falling, truth rising high. No more illusions. Say goodbye.
Hello, hello. Sure hope my audio is picking me up. Listen, I feel like I'm moving through a world of molasses. I had an accident yesterday, and I'm still not recovered. Yeah. I'll make it through this video because I'm just talking. But oh my God, I almost passed out in the post office. All these are the tracking receipts from just this morning. Over 20 domestics and internationals I mailed out. Yeah, I'll do the last 5 or 6 tomorrow. I don't know if I said anything on my YouTube, but I told my ex community what happened. Yeah, my body is absolutely clean. There is nothing in my body that does not belong. And I've been like this all my life. I mean, I was fortunate to have been born in a bathtub in a very poor like Hispanic neighborhood. My mom was like one of the only white girls around. And I was fortunate, man. I didn't even get a birth certificate, didn't even go to the hospital until I was 5 years old. I missed all those little shots. So I've just been real fortunate. And I don't do drugs. I don't at all. And here in Willis, you can go to like Tractor Supply. I can go down the road to Northern Tool. These are my hangouts. I like Tractor Supply, Northern Tool, and Harbor Freight more than I do Home Depot or Lowe's. But I went into Walker's Feed store. No, they got one too. But it's further down the road. I went into a shop, and they have everybody in Willis. All these little small mom and pop stores and shit. They got these old Coca-Cola machines, old vintage machines. They still got them around. if you're thirsty, you just come in off the street, man, and grab one, and they'll ring it up for you right there. And mostly they're for employees, but they're not going to tell a customer no, and they'll just charge you. Well, I'll be damned if yesterday, an hour and a half before the video was supposed to start, I was about to come home, and I just grabbed one of those, and it's my fault. All I saw was watermelon lemonade, and it was over with after that. No one told me. They knew. I guess they thought I knew too, but I'm naive about these things. I grabbed that watermelon lemonade, and I was so high, I chugged the whole thing. I didn't know. I did notice it had a funny taste to it. Wasn't a bad taste, but it was a funny taste. Let me tell you something. I almost called 911 because it felt like my feet. I was just sitting right here where I'm talking to you now. I was getting ready pre-video production, and I felt like my feet. I feel like my feet went up through my ass and just kept going up. And I just sat here and I'm like, man, what is going on with me? I thought somebody poisoned me. I was literally about to call 911. I mean 911. I was like, man, this is not happening. And I tried to relax for a minute, and then I realized that it's worsening and I was becoming detached from my body. I'm like, no, man. I don't have paranormal experiences. I don't have anything like that. I'm a normal guy. I'm sitting here and I realize, oh my God, this is something ain't right. So I told those close to me, hey man, something ain't right. And all I could trace it to was that can. So I looked at that can. I still had it. I looked at that can and couldn't believe what I saw. 100 milligrams of pure THC. Yeah. So within an hour, I was sitting on the couch. I was a vegetable. I was thinking clearly, but my body wasn't responding. I was thinking clearly, and I was thinking around me, and I was trying not to panic because I don't like not being in control of my faculties. It wasn't cool. I really wanted to take issue with the store owner, but it was on me. I just reached in there and grabbed it, paid for it, ran out, and I didn't ask. I never would have expected that. They're legal in Texas. At these smoke shops and stuff, they're legal at Texas, but they're not. But even though the weed's not, the THC drinks are legal, and there's vendors that sell these. But man, I ain't never drank one in my life, ever. Yeah, man. Yesterday was miserable. For 4.5, 5 hours, I was on my couch and could not get up. The world itself kept me on that couch. The entire universe conspired to keep me on those cushions. I was not going anywhere. I may have been going somewhere in my mind, but I was not following through with my body. Yeah, it was Delta 9. On the can, it said Delta 9, 100%. 100 it said 100 milligrams THC Delta 9. That shit knocked me on my ass. I'm still feeling it now. I'm not high, but I'm lethargic. I don't like that shit. That's not my lifestyle. I'm not down with that shit at all. No, I'm not with it. So yeah. On the screen you'll see ASM Future. I put his comment up here. Giving that boy a shout out. This is the guy I work with. I give him the ideas, basic things for lyrics, and he's the mastermind behind the Archaics albums. I'm working on a second one now. We already did the first one and I posted it, but you've been hearing some new songs, so I'm working toward a second album. He and I will collab on that some more, but he's the genius behind all this new Archaics music you've been hearing. ASM Future. Yeah. So crazy. I took caffeine pills. I took nitrous, creatine. I took everything. I'm trying to get this shit out of my system. I'm drinking coffee. I'm like, man, F me. Yeah, I don't like it. Never been That's never been my thing. But I got some amazing things to talk to you about. Listen, we're going to go deeper on what's going on with the Iran stuff. We're going to go, because it's relative, you guys are going to hear about 7 minutes of old clips of my predictions from 2020, 2021, and 2022. They were just too early, but they're absolutely describing what's unfolding right now. Another shout out. We'll talk about him a little bit later, but I need to introduce you guys. Every once in a while, somebody rises up in the community who needs a shout out, even though they're quiet and they're behind the scenes, and they don't, for whatever reason, they don't want to come out. They're just not with all the popularity and recognition. But sometimes we have to recognize merit. Remember, I've told you guys in the past, this is why I'm such a critic to so many other people. This is why I'm on the attack. Yeah, man. I believe in meritocracy. Meritocracy is the only thing that makes sense. So we don't live in a meritocracy. We live in a pseudo-capitalist state that is run by Jewish nepotism. That's the world we live in. In the world we're supposed to be living in, it should be a meritocracy. Meritocracy means that you rise in your community in proportion to the merit that you possess. Merit is given to you by the community. It is not something that you claim for yourself. This is what a meritocracy is. It is when the community decides how much value you've provided. So I want to shout out to Jay-Z. Jay-Z is real thick in the Archaics community, and in the underground, he's posted a lot of his deals. See, listen, when I brought these things to your attention, when I first brought these to your attention, it blew a lot of people's minds when they were seeing the calendrics, especially isometric projections as pertaining to the palindromic sequencing of world historical events. And when I have shown these, I've shown some massive ones that are undeniable, especially the 1902 one, forward and backward in time. The whole Civil War unfolded in reverse, just like the whole World War II moving forward. Almost battle for battle. I've showed the 1902 being the epicenter, 1998 being the epicenter of many of them, especially a big one involving Trump. So there's so many examples that I have provided, but there are other people like Jay-Z who have taken these things to another level. And he needs to be recognized for that. In Archaics Underground, you can go see Jay-Z's post, but he is completely taken apart 2026, showing exactly what to expect, where it's an historical record, showing the holographic structuring of our reality based off these palindromic sequences, and Jay-Z's on top of it. Listen, just because I bring a concept to the table by no means I'm an expert at it. It just means that I understand its context, I understand its applications, and I'm able to disseminate that, and I'm able to communicate it to people who can absorb it and take it far, far further than I ever have. And this is what Jay-Z has done. He's got a special knack for this. So I'm just throwing that out there because we're going to review a clip that Jay-Z had provided me in the X community that blew my mind about what's really going on with the whole Iran affair, what the future of the United States, and by extension the United States allies and the Western world, what it's going to look like from 2026 to 2030, because it's all been planned and none of it is a secret. Jay-Z brought this to my attention. Everything that's unfolding, none of this was esoteric. Every bit of it is in the executive orders of the president. It's also in the WEF planning. They're all working together. And when all these independent documents from hundreds of organizations around the world are put together, as Jay-Z did it, using different AIs to synthesize all these government documents, you can't go by what the media is telling you. You have to go by what are these executive orders and all these plans and everything that's been published by all these international organizations. Yeah, it's almost the exact opposite of what the media is perpetuating. So the truth has been out there. It's for anybody to see it, but we often default to the media. We trust the media to give us at least some iota of what's going on, but they're not. They're not at all. So this is what we're going to look at that in this video too. We're going to show with the next 4 years what to expect, because it's all by design. Also, I'm always about providing hope where there is hope, and there is. There's plenty of hope. We survived COVID. We're going to survive, lockdown point 2. We're going to go through that too. My taste buds are finally coming back. That coffee tastes so good. So I came out that stupor yesterday, and I knocked down an entire bag by myself of Louisiana hot sauce pork skins, and I didn't taste a single one of them. I'm just chewing them up. I don't taste anything hot. So I make a cup of coffee, and I never put creamer and sugar in my coffee. Yeah, I'm a black coffee kind of guy. Man, after that, getting off the couch, I put two big spoons of coffee in there, and I even drank freeze-dried coffee, Folgers backup coffee that's just sitting on the shelf. I didn't even use my coffee grinder or anything. I just made some John Wayne. That's what we called it in prison, a John Wayne, when you just sit there and put a whole bunch in there and just stir it on up and drink it. So I made a bunch of coffee, and then I decided to drown it in milk, and I put 2 heaping spoons of sugar in there. I didn't taste anything. I didn't even taste the coffee, the sugar, nothing. Yeah, man, whatever that stuff is, that 100 milligrams of THC, it messed everything off. Yeah, man. So glad I don't feel like that no more. I guess the best word is lethargic. I did experience some vertigo this morning. I had to slow down. My plan, because all these packages I'm mailing I don't have anything within reach. They're all this small. My plan is I got this little haversack that goes over my shoulder like a bandolier, and it's leather, and it can hold a bunch of little stuff on my back when I'm on my motorcycle. It's so beautiful outside. I nixed that because as soon as I got up, yeah, man, I was experiencing too much vertigo to get on my motorcycle today, so I took the truck. At least if I crashed, I'd be safe. Yeah, this ain't gummy. This was like a Coca-Cola. And on the back of the can, it says 20 doses. I didn't even know any of that. I just drank the whole thing. It took about 45 minutes for me to realize I effed up. Lacey, what are you talking about? Charcoal. It really does help. Yeah. Man. Never do that again. I'll be reading all kinds of labels. All right, so like I said, this is going to be a fun video. We're definitely going to get into some intriguing stuff. And yeah, again, we're stretching out the 2026 predictions videos, man. We're going to show it. So, we're going to show a few things, just some minor warm-ups. I like to warm up to the topic. Besides, all the juicy stuff is the predictions. That's what that's what you really want to hear. So I'm going to make you wait. I'm so bad. All right. So if I can't do that, if I share my screen, here it is. Isn't this interesting? A 1st century Roman ring. I mean, what's the symbolism here? Do we have any esotericists out here that could interpret this symbolism? This is during the period of the Gnosis, when Gnosticism was going strong. What is this? Why would somebody wear a ring that shows a giant beetle or cricket upside down and a man stepping on its antennas, holding its legs with his piece hanging down on the above the insect's face? What kind of symbolism is this? And why is that bug so gigantic compared to that guy? Yeah, a fly or a cricket. I don't know what it is. Could the symbolism, because he looks Semitic with that beard, a Semitic beard, could it be? Since this is not an elbow, oh, that's the insect's leg. Could it be that this is symbolic of some hero, subduing Beelzebub, Lord of the Flies? I don't know, man. I'm just guessing. I don't know, man. Maybe somebody knows. It's just weird. Such a gigantic insect. So these are floating around again on social media. So, I mean, they're always going to be a mystery because, first of all, the uniformitarian archaeologists are never going to agree that we were liquefying pre-existing basement rocks. We were liquefying them. But as we were liquefying, we were reconstituting them as something else. Now they had beryl, they had little chips and beryl in there, graphite, they had silicates introduced. They're basically hardeners, like geopolymer engineering. But this was in the ancient world. Listen, a bunch of these giant megaliths are not that big. This is facing that was put on there, and this was shaped. Something even left the knobs. I told you guys 3 and 4 years ago in some of my Antiquitech videos, I was explaining those knobs sticking off a bunch of deals. Those are the boogers left over. Like when a boom is pouring liquid quickcrete through the boom. Well, when the boom pulls away, there's going to be a booger there. The booger is what's still sticking out. Well, workmen haven't had a chance to smooth that out while it's wet. Or if the booger dries like that, then they would sit there and chip it away and then grind it down and then polish it and smooth it so you would never know it was there. But there's architecture all over the world where the boogers are still in place. The reason they're still in, they call them nubs and knobs. The reason this is so enigmatic in the archaeological community is because they're not recognizing that we used to be technologically advanced in the past, and we had the equipment to do this. Proof that we had the equipment to do this is you're looking at it on the screen right now. This stonework was liquefied, and it was set in place in liquid form. It congealed almost instantly after coming out of whatever boom apparatus that they were using. And sometimes they were still in the middle of their work before they were able to smooth any of these indiscrepancies out. That's why they were seen. Remember, this is a common denominator in the archaics research. I've shown that all these gigantic megalithic complexes were under construction at the exact same time when something happened and terrified them, and everybody dropped their hammers and chisels, all their work stuff, and they just left. And archaeologists have found this to be true in many of these ancient sites throughout the world that I've mentioned in my research. The workbenches and the tools, the work ditches and the hammers and chisels were found in situ where they had been dropped. Something terrified all these builders at the exact same time. And many of these sites that were under construction were never returned to again, suffered earthquake damage and all that. But these megalithic huge sites, they're more imposing because people look at them and take them at face value and assume that, oh, okay, well, somebody actually force fit all these boulders together. No, they did not. They did not. Somebody built a wall with inferior stone, and then over it came with a boom and sprayed and poured all that in situ in place. We don't know with what technology that they had back then. But all the evidence of booms being used and the boogers left over, and what you're seeing on the screen here, this igneous folding and all that, this is all proof of an ancient technology for which we're not recognizing. Yeah, it's your uniformitarian archaeologists will never address these issues right here because it defies natural selection and evolution that we were primitive in ancient times and we're always getting more and more advanced. They're not, the uniformitarian archaeologists are never going to admit that we were technologically advanced in the recent past within 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago. They're just not. And then what's worse is all the free thinkers, all the ones that are actually trying to wrap their minds around this anomaly, All these dolts have all fallen for the Graham Hancock 12,000 BC bullshit. They all have. I haven't met a single one that hasn't. All these alternative archaeology guys, all these, they get big on X, megalithic mysteries and Jay Anderson, every single one of them. This is the litmus test for me. This is why I know these guys are shills. I don't care that you're posting all these innovative, unique things, but across the board, it should be very obvious to you when Jimmy Corsetti posts about these things, he's doing it from a uniformitarian perspective. Randall Carlson, Graham Hancock, always uniformitarian perspective. This is what I've told you guys in the past. As long as you play ball with the establishment, that will boost your ratings, that will shoot you up. And that's how all these nobodies who've never researched, who've never been engaged in any real debate, who don't even know what the hell they're talking about. This is how they get so popular. Because they're pushing uniformitarian ideas and concepts in order to box in all the researchers that are trying to figure out these anomalies, and they can't. You cannot bridge two completely independent systems. They do not work. They don't work. So you get your Jay Andersons and your Jimmy Corsettis and every other shill out there who's going to try to address these mysteries, but put them in a 12,000 BC context to follow the Graham Hancock stuff. This is why I'm always so critical. It's so dumb. So dumb. Which leads into something else. Look at that. Yeah. You're looking at direct evidence. You're looking at direct evidence of technology being used. They're not just machining. They're not just using lathes and badass diamond saws, hypersonic boring, fracture quarrying. Man, we found evidence of them doing all that. Very sophisticated. But now this right here, super sophisticated. They were changing the chemical composition of stone to fold it, to shape it, and mold it, and put it in there and make it look like they were form fitting all those polygonal, which is called cyclopean masonry together. And they weren't. They were pouring it. They were pouring it, man. It's so dumb. I like showing these old Egyptian. She's holding a stylized ankh. That's what she's holding. The reason I like this piece here is because it's a dead giveaway. You don't see no lion up here. There's your dog, Sphinx. Everywhere in ancient Egypt, you got the Sphinx Anubis, the dog everywhere. Yeah, see this hat this guy's wearing? Yeah, that's Old Kingdom. That's like Narmer. That's the same hat on the Narmer palette. So this is Göbekli Tepe. They found writing on Göbekli Tepe now. So anywhere else in the world, they have found any type of underground settlement. They had to dig it up and excavate it. If they found writing, they would automatically say, okay, this is in between 1,000 and 2,000 to 2,500 BC. Every single time, all over the world. But with Göbekli Tepe, they're already trapped in a uniformitarian box. Why? Because they found Göbekli Tepe buried underground with all the other Tepe sites. So instead of admitting to a cataclysm, they freestyled and gaslit the shit out of us and told us that, oh, Göbekli Tepe was a very important ceremonial city in the ancient world. And before they left, they made sure they delicately buried the whole place before they left. You freestyled all that. There's nowhere in the historical record anybody talks about Göbekli Tepe. It's an absolute historical unknown. You made up all that shit because you found it buried. But liquefaction will bury that fast. So I was releasing videos in 2020, 2021, and 2022 telling you guys they're going to find more and more shit proving that Göbekli Tepe isn't old at all. It isn't even old. It is nowhere near 8,000 BC. Pre-pottery, Neolithic, uniformitarian dating has effed all these people up. They keep on finding more and more stuff. Remember I did a video showing how Göbekli Tepe matches the architecture of the kivas found in the Americas and in the ancient baths of Mohenjo-Daro in India? I said, come on, man. It matches the pillar, the anthropomorphic pillars with the man, the god pillar man with the elbows at right angles and the fingers at right angles and long and skinny going over the right angle of the pillar. Only two places in the world have those pillars. Tiahuanaco in Bolivia, in the Bolivian Altiplano in the Andes Mountains and Easter Island, the Moai. They have the exact same pillars. Coincidentally, the bird cult effigies at Easter Island matched the ones at Göbekli Tepe. So I did a video in 2021 showing all that. Jimmy Corsetti lifted that shit and showed his community like he's the one that discovered it. But I got all this well documented in Archaics, the parallels showing Göbekli Tepe, according to everything found there, matching other places in the world, can't be more than 2,500, 2,600 years BC. This is what I've been saying since the beginning. And they keep finding more and more. Here's the writing. This is Finkel saying this is Proto-Sumerian. Well, perfect. 3,000 BC at the most, not 8,000 BC. So writing has now been found. Irvin Finkel went into a lot of detail about this. So what else has been found? A 3D little statue of a boar. No big deal. It's no big deal. But archaeology should be self-referencing. But they're so highly compartmentalized that will treat every single site as completely independent of every other site when there is crossover, there is cultural diffusionism. They just don't want to admit it because they're uniformitarians. But that exact boar right there, almost looking exactly like that, was also recently found in China. And the Chinese archaeologists, using the historical record, using traditional record of the site that it was found, and actual ancient documents, dated it to 3,000 BC. 3,000 years ago, about 1100 BC. The exact same boar. Yeah, they're going to keep finding more and more and more about Göbekli Tepe because it's like 25 acres. They've barely even scratched the surface. I can't wait for them to keep on digging and I encourage it. I wish they'd keep on digging and keep on digging and keep on digging, because I know in my lifetime I'm going to have the great I told you so. They're going to find an artifact that absolutely dates it to the Sumerian times. I promise you they will. Guarantee you they will. Everything they find keeps making the date younger and younger. And look how advanced this looks. They haven't been wanting to show this Göbekli Tepe. They ain't been wanting to show this. I think this is a nearby Tepe site. It may be Göbekli Tepe. I don't know. But yeah, they're finding more and more evidence, more and more advanced. So look at it. They found this. This is Göbekli Tepe. These are three-dimensional effigies of salamanders and lizards on the left. The more they excavate, the more they're going to find this place is nowhere near as old as they thought. Yeah, you want to date these spirals right here? Because there's whole books all about these spirals. Somebody in the comment section is right. Somebody in ancient Ireland has these. But it wasn't just the Celts. It's not just ancient Ireland, because those spirals have also been found all over Sardinia and Malta as well. Those are all island nations. This is like the Sea Peoples Federation type stuff. It's Sardinia, Sicily, Malta, Ireland, maybe even in England. I don't know, but these have been found everywhere. Oh, also Knossos, Crete. Yeah, and guess what? Everywhere else in the world, they're after 2,500 BC. Everywhere else in the world, they're after 1,200 BC. But Göbekli Tepe has to be 8,000 BC because you found it underground. And it's so dumb. It's just so dumb. There's nothing about this place that's that old. So dumb. So this is on Göbekli Tepe too, and this, you're being gaslit. It says ancient secrets unveiled. Are the Göbekli Tepe carvings really dinosaurs? No, those are wingless birds. These are actually the very things that we have found all these petrified tracks. They love to call them dinosaur tracks. But as you've shown, as I've shown in my videos, I've shown all massive amount of tracks, three-toed avian tracks going, and because they're gigantic, archaeologists always default to dinosaurs. Oh, those are petrified dinosaur footprints. You don't know that. Those could be giant chickenosauruses that came from chicken eggs right before a Nemesis X tertiary field came up. You don't know. You weren't there. You live with us today. All your guesstimations are based off uniformitarian brainwashing. There's really nothing valuable you can add to the conversation. Those aren't dinosaurs. They look more like ducks. It's so dumb. Anyway, there would be wingless birds, and those were popular. The emus were popular. There's a whole bunch of different breeds of ostrich, of the wingless bird variety. But yeah, somebody gaslighting you these are dinosaurs. No, man, they're just wingless birds. That's all they are. Told you I like to warm up. Check this out. I don't know what this is, but we're going to check it out.
You notice something weird about this map?
All right. Guys, you know me and my maps. Love those maps. See what this guy's talking about right here. And let me figure out why I can't get into this 2026. Oh, I'm in the wrong file. That's why. There we go. Now I'm somewhere.
Something weird about this map of Greenland from 1592. Now, this is a continent that is supposed to be covered in ice year-round. I mean, when I was in school, they made a joke about it, how Iceland is a green continent part of the year, and how Greenland is covered in ice for the entire year. But do you notice on this map how there are trees over the entire continent, and none of it is ice? And there are two massive canals that go through the entirety of Greenland that supposedly don't exist today. But it's not just this map. Multiple historical maps show an ice-free Greenland. They even write about this in historical documents, saying that in Greenland, only half of the year it was frozen. But in the 1700s, maps started to indicate that Greenland was slowly getting frozen over. And why does this matter? Well, because the official story is that Greenland was frozen over 1 million years ago. We're going from Greenland being frozen over 300 years ago to 1 million years ago. And these people didn't just travel there, they lived there. So, of course, they would know. Maps like this one even pointed out, showing this massive canal that spanned all of Greenland and saying they were once passable, but are now shut up with ice. And this is from the 1700s. Here's another map from 1770 showing this canal being slowly swallowed by ice. Here's another map showing this canal. Here's another map showing this canal. And in this map from before that, they show the canal fully passable. Here it's just a river, and you can get through the entirety of Greenland by sailing through it. Now, why would this be the case if it had been frozen for 1 million years? Still today on Google Earth, you can see what appears to be the start of this canal. Just look at the two images. You can definitely tell there is a resemblance. But why do I show these old maps where there are forests in Greenland and no ice? Well, because it disproves global warming. It shows that the world is in an abnormal state of being frozen right now. That the world is not actually supposed to be this cold. So what is going on behind the scenes to make it this cold? Or what event happened that made it this cold? And is the melting of the ice in the Arctic and Antarctic actually normal? And we're actually returning to a state that the world was in only 300 to 400 years ago? It's pretty amazing to think about, but just wait till you hear more about the Arctic, because it hides a lot of secrets, and they absolutely do not want you to know about them. Share this with your friends if you want more people to find out about this information, and leave a like as it helps the video get out there. Follow for more videos like this one. Do you notice something weird about this?
Nice. So apparently he's unaware of the Lost Squadron, which I showed in a recent video. Absolute proof that Greenland in the Dark Ages wasn't covered in ice. We done the math. We can thank the Lost Squadron for completely overturning the entire uniformitarian bullshit model of ice ages and ice accrual for tens of thousands, 50,000, 100,000 years. It's all bullshit. How do we know? because all the planes in the Lost Squadron, they landed safely. They were all on the same level of ice pack. There are photographs, like I've showed you, of all of them together. And then they were abandoned. The men were rescued. They were abandoned. 50 years later, a company went out there and looking for them using some type of radar or sonar that can look deep in the ice, because they were not on the surface anymore. And they couldn't believe it. In 1992, they had to dig shafts 268 feet down. That's only 50 years, from 1942 to 1992, when those planes were brought back up to the present surface of Greenland. It was 268 feet of ice accrual. So it's real simple math. If 268 feet of ice accrual happens in 50 years, extrapolated backwards, that means around the 7th or 8th century AD, in the middle of the Dark Ages, there was no ice on Greenland, which makes sense of the old maps that we find showing Antarctica with no ice. So that's Greenland. I didn't know about the canal. Didn't even know. What else are we going to find underneath Greenland? What other infrastructure lies there? What other Göbekli Tepes are all up under there that we've never known about because it's covered in ice? And the guy is right. I've been telling you, we're in an ice age now. That's why all this ice is here. But the normal state is not an ice age. We're about to flip back in 14 more years. But we're going to start experiencing all kinds of phenomena before then. Way before then, we're going to experience some crazy shit as the vapor canopy conditions come back. There's going to be all kinds of attendant phenomena. It's going to be an exciting ride. It's going to be an exciting ride. There's so much about our world we just don't know. Take this into consideration. Let's look at this one. Let's see.
An incredible video was captured by photographer Dmitry Lyashev on a flight over Yakutia, revealing a seemingly endless long wall. Following the release of this footage, scientists began scrutinizing the images and concluded that the wall was man-made. The wall extends to the ocean, continuing beneath the water. Surprisingly, no one had previously noticed this wall, prompting bewilderment among scientists. Interestingly, Soviet scientist, architect, and occultist Ludwig Mavrikovich Heinrich, who visited a secret Vatican library in 1920, discovered a book referencing this wall in Yakutia. You can find a video about Mavrikovich on my channel. The wall spans several hundred kilometers. Speculation suggests that the Russian government prohibited aerial photography over the area, and in March 2024, a drone operator filming the wall was arrested. Presently, the government is striving to eliminate all online information related to this wall, leaving its nature shrouded in mystery.
Yeah, man, a little dramatic there, but do you remember the old map I showed you of the Caucasus Mountains? And right there at the southern part of the Caucasus Mountains is a gigantic wall. No one knows why it's there. It's the Great Wall of the Caucasus. And it looks identical to, on the same map further south, you can see the Great Wall of the Mongols, the Great Wall of China. It looks identical to it, but it's in a totally different area of the world. It's not connected in any way. There's a lot about our past. Now, in the Archaics model, we now understand why they were building megalithic cities that were very hard to get. All these giant megalithic cities in the ancient world were on cliff faces with one entrance, one exit. They were always in really, really, alpine, high altitudes. Now we understand, because during the vapor canopy periods, the lower altitudes are full and packed with teeming millions of amphibians and reptiles and chickensauruses and everything that the Nemesis X tertiary field, through the parthenogenetic changes in the eggs, just creates a land of the lost. There's no other way to explain it. And it works in tandem with the tertiary field of Phoenix, which is always bringing weird things: red rain, red mud, red dust, but also insect storms. The sky is always raining larvae and eggs and pupas and insects that are fully developed. Sometimes insects that are just hatched out of a pupa stage. Charles Fort has documented a huge amount Well, he's actually collected all the scientific reports on it, on these insect plagues. But if parthenogenesis is a thing, and we believe it is, then it's the tertiary fields that activate all that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine when hundreds of billions of chicken eggs and salamander eggs and snake eggs and turtle eggs start get hatched during a Nemesis X tertiary event? And now, because of a vapor canopy has returned, increased atmospheric pressure, ultraviolet light, ambient radiation from a volcanic outgassing all over the world, in a very short period of time, all these eggs are giving birth to different, larger, more violent renditions of the amphibians, reptiles, and avians that we know today. And within a 10-year period, the world is full of, it's like Jurassic Park all over again. Can you imagine that world? Where will humans be? I'm going to tell you where they're going to be. They're going to be at all those ancient locations that have that folded rock I showed you, that have those cisterns, that have the megalithic polygonal constructions. They're going to be at all those places because they're safe. Because those are why those constructions were built, so humans could have somewhere to be. That's why Catalhoyuk looks the way it does. Catalhoyuk, all humans lived on the roof. They went from house to house on walks between roofs. It looks like at Catalhoyuk, no one went down. The gardens are on the roof, on the ceilings. Why? What was on the ground that humans feared? Yeah, I would run from a 2-foot long spider too. Yeah, you ain't the only one. You ain't the only one. And if I saw army ants coming my way, and each army ant is 17 inches long, I promise you, I'm going the other way. Going the other way. It's insane. It's insane. So I want to show you something really, really interesting. I don't remember who brought this to my attention, but if you're in the chat, I'll remember you then. But this is really interesting too. So about 6 years ago in a video, I was explaining that the entire Tower of Babel story is a cover story. The incident did not happen at Babel. It didn't happen in Babylon. They remembered it, and it became a part of the Amorite syllabus, which meant, with a lot of other teachings like the Great Flood and the story of the legend of Etana and the Apkallu and the buckets of water, of divine water, these became a part of the syllabus, and they were later included in the Old Testament. But the Tower of Babel story was just a part of the Amorite syllabus, but it happened somewhere else, where humans came together to build a construct to breach the sky. They knew by their advanced learning that they could build a structure that would literally break the sky and allow them to escape. So they built that structure. It's encoded in the tradition of the Tower of Babel. But the Tower of Babel wasn't in Babylon. It was in Egypt. It was the tower itself was also called the Tower of Syene, the Tower of Seven. And it's always been known that the Tower of Syene was in Egypt. But there was confusion in ancient times, and people remembered that the story of the great tower that caused the gods to come down. The gods were alarmed. They're like, damn, man has become as one of us. And by virtue of imagination, there is nothing that he cannot do. So in order to stop them from putting the cornerstone on top of the pyramid, they interjected before they could, humans could finish the Great Pyramid, and they divided the languages and created confusion. And the incident was called Tower of Babel. Babel means to confuse. It's confusion. So after centuries and maybe a couple thousand years, the story lost its location because it was a part of the syllabus. What is a syllabus? It is a structured ordering of stories that were taken to all different lands by virtue of a ruling mariner race. I have called them the Heliolithic Maritime Empire. What they were actually called, we'll never know. But different civilizations called them by different names. The Amuru, they had regional names like Hyksos, but these are the Sea Peoples Federation. Anyway, this map is very interesting because this is a Ptolemaic era map. So we're looking at a 2000. Well, it's not quite 2000. It's going to be 500-year-old map. We're looking at a map with someone who remembered the tradition about the Great Pyramid that I just told you. How do we know this? Because right there at the Great Pyramid, there's the 9 bows. Tanis. This is the 9 bows. There's Memphis. Right here, they called, instead of calling it Saqqara, they called it Babylon on this map. This is northern Egypt. This is northern Egypt. That is the origin of the Tower of Babel story. What happened to the Great Pyramid? Somebody who remembered that story actually put Babylon right there next to the Great Pyramid. This is northern Egypt. So crazy. Here's Ethiopia down here at the bottom. Libya, the interior of Libya. Yeah, man, it's so crazy. Called the 9 bows, where all the rivers come off the Nile. Great Pyramids, and they put Babylon right there, which is a nod toward that story. Damn, I think I drank all my coffee already. All right, so we're done with that. Yeah, man, we got some juicy stuff to look at, man. Things making sense of all this crazy shit. I just like to go through my curios first. Go through my little curios first, because they're so good. They're so good. Let's see what we got going on here. Sure. Oh, I see that. Ah, man, I don't know if I can play that with all that music in it. That's all right. I'm not worried about it. Let's see this. Here's a video I can share. Desktop. That's supposed to be 150 to 155 foot straight dinosaur footprint petrified on the surface. Just another example. I didn't have that one when I did those previous videos showing you of all the human prints, the vehicle tracks, and the dinosaur footprints, all found on the surface, while human stuff is far deep in the underworld. Yeah, you go thousands of feet in coal seams, and you'll find human artifacts in the coal seams. But dinosaur footprints are on the surface. Go figure that one out. Speaking of vehicle tracks, look at these. Here's a new one too. Look at that. I'm going to show that again because these are vehicle tracks, petrified. Now, you know, I got a video that shows 8 locations in the world where these have been found. They're always dinosaur footprints and human footprints fossilized on the surface close by too. All this is on the surface. So, you know, during these Phoenix cataclysms, bodies of water change, you know, through subsidence and upheaval, they change locations. So you're going to find these going underwater too, but they're everywhere. You can only imagine the technologically advanced machines that we had. You can imagine people, whole families, military or whatever, scared because something's going on and they're all running. That's the common denominator. The common denominator with the petrified footprints and the petrified dinosaurs, like everybody's scattered and they seem to be in a panic. Oh, And there's one in Texas where a dinosaur footprint stepped on top of a human footprint. Yeah, it's amazing. But vehicle tracks too. All humans, technologically advanced humans, were here with whatever these tracks are that they call dinosaur tracks, with barefoot humans and humans wearing sandals and boots. Boot stitching, all that has been found in the fossil record. Yeah, I just can't make this shit up. This shit's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. And of course, I love to twist the dagger in the uniformitarians. So we'll do that right now too. Because it's just so dumb. The more you analyze and break down the whole uniformitarian concepts and how academia has boxed themselves in on a bunch of suppositions, and while they disdain and look down their noses at religionists, which I do too, really, but still, it's still faith. In order to push uniformitarian principles, you have to assume many things are true. That's not science. That's faith. So there's not a lot of difference between a scientist and a religionist. Yeah, it's just the religionist is going to tell you straight up, yeah, I believe in God. The scientist is going to claim to be an atheist, but it takes spiritual actions in order to promote what it is uniformitarians want to promote. So it's total hypocrisy. You must exercise faith that all these things are real in order for you to promote what you promote. It's so dumb. Especially with all the dating methods. So dumb. Here's what 56 million years of evolution looks like. Yeah, man. We're dealing with intelligent design. We live inside of a construct. I call it the simulacrum. Remember, one of the things that I've brought to your attention over the years is the uniformitarian idea of how fossils and petrification occurs is not true. It's not true. We have found fossils from periods of time where that would have never fit that model. Fossils are made in an instant. How do we know? Will one of my moderators please post my 649 impossible fossils video? Fossils aren't found compressed under high pressure. Not like we were taught. No, most of them are found in delicate 3D. No pressure, nothing. They just flash froze. Octopus, squid, jellyfish all over the world, delicate sea life, corals, everything on the bottom of the ocean. Bivalves, flash froze, closed. Whole giant ribbed clams, closed. They flash froze. When a bivalve dies, the muscles relax and the clam shells open. That's why on the beach you always find half shells. But that's not what we find in the fossil record. The entire world flash froze. Ecosystems were flash frozen in 3D. I see Martin Davis says just theories, no conclusions. Well, if you're speaking from a uniformitarian perspective, I'm going to counterpoint that with the fact is that they're the only ones funded. The uniformitarians can cry, well, these are just theories, they're not conclusions, to insulate themselves from scrutiny, when the real truth of the matter is it's all peer reviewed. And catastrophists don't get a fair play. They don't. They get to show the facts, but they're absolutely ignored by the establishment. While uniformitarians exhibiting just theories, no conclusions, get funded billions of dollars to share those theories in order to brainwash the public into believing in a farce. So it's not really fair. If you're speaking from the uniformitarian, it's not a defense. Just theories, no conclusions. It's not a defense, because only the uniformitarians are funded. Only the uniformitarians are pushed in social media. Only the uniformitarians are pushed all across. Even all the shills that I call out. That's the litmus test here. You have to understand, I'm a critic of Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson, Jimmy Corsetti, Billy Carson. Yeah, they all have a common denominator. Even that debunking dude, man, whatever his thing is, they all have a common denominator. Every single one of them, no matter what they promote or what they don't know about Göbekli Tepe, and what real archaeologists are always correcting these guys on all kinds of shit, making them look stupid. But it's always garbed in uniformitarianism. Everything these guys promote in alternative archaeology is still from the uniformitarian perspective. Everything, both sides of the argument have been put in the same box. And they sit there and quibble and they argue, and you look at the back and forth on social media, and it is so pedantic. Uniformitarians think they know everything and they got all the evidence when they're in a box themselves. But the entire argument about how the old world unfolded has been packaged in a uniformitarian box. Archaics is on the outside of that box, showing all the inconsistencies. But I'm not sponsored. I'm not pushed. So that's not really a fair assessment, what you say about just theories, no conclusions. It's not fair at all when both sides don't get equal footing. They don't get equal play. I've provided a plethora of data showing that uniformitarianism cannot possibly be true, but the world doesn't know anything about this evidence except the small minority of souls who have ever come into contact with the Archaics research. Other than that, nobody knows. They still believe that bullshit. Still believe all that bullshit. So some people think stalactites and stalagmites are evidence of uniformitarian principles. They're not. Anybody in oil and gas can tell you how fast these things are created. Yeah, man. It's stalagmites and stalactites. They can appear in just months. They're so fast. So fast. Paul Cook is good. Paul Cook's been on the channel 3 or 4 times. He's always popping in about every 5 months, giving us updates on what he's doing. Yeah, this is all on stalactites and stalagmites. Man, look at this. This is pretty popular, man, but I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's real, but the locals think it is. The locals think that boulder could be a giant frog. I don't know. But we do have evidence that the entire world flash froze, and it wasn't that long ago either. So this argument is really compelling. It's really compelling. So the creationists are the ones that brought the enigma to the table. And their argument against the evolutionists, the uniformitarians, is that the very fact that radio halos from polonium 218 are found in basement rock granite, the only way that's possible is if those radio halos were flash frozen in that granite at the instant of that granite was created. So that's an interesting theory, but that's kind of boxing in the facts. The fact is we found granite. And here's a fact. We have granite as basement rock. We have granite in the world. Another fact. Granite is basement rock. Another fact. When granite is superheated and becomes molten, when it cools, it's no longer granite. Now it's rhyolite. So we have found in granite radio halos fossilized, imprinted into the crystalline structure of the granite itself. Creationists say, well, it's easy to interpret this. This means that the granite basement rock, the shell of the earth, was created in an instant. If it was created in an instant, though, why is the radio halos present? So it couldn't have been an instant. An instant must have been a finite amount of time for the radio halo to appear. It has the half-life of like a half a second. So something's wrong with that. I'm not agreeing, but you know what? We've already shown in Archaeology that the entire world flash froze. And if the entire world flash froze, and there's been these massive gamma ray saturations, and it flash froze from the highest mountaintop all the way to the ocean beds. We have already shown entire ecosystems at the bottom of the ocean that flash froze. Whole jellyfish still swimming at great depth under the ocean, all the little, tendrils floating like hair, and flash froze just like that. We've already shown fish eating fish, fish giving birth to other fish. We have animals in the middle of battling on dry ground, their hackles up, fangs out, wrapped around each other, fighting, flash frozen in the middle of the fight. We've already shown all this in Archaeology. So why can't those radio halos be there from when the world was flash frozen? I'm just asking the question. I don't know enough about it. Somebody else can answer that for me. But I don't agree with the creationists that's proof that the basement rock was created ex nihilo and it gave off the radio halos from the polonium-218. Now, if it was created in an instant, then it wouldn't even need to shed the halos. No, I think it's something else. I think those halos were created in the instant that the whole world was flash frozen. So it's just interesting. It's an interesting argument. So for decades, scientists believed these massive stone spirals were fossilized roots from hell, dubbing them devil's corkscrews. But inside, they found the skeleton of a paleocastor, a historic land beaver that carved these perfect helixes using its teeth as a shovel to escape predators. Isn't that interesting? What I find interesting is this thing fossilized. This beaver hole, which corkscrews all the way down here, and then there's where the beaver actually lives. This beaver hole fossilized. Isn't that something interesting? Here's another time when you can just say, it's so dumb. Scientists found a 520 million year old miracle, a fossil with brains and guts intact. Yeah. Like I said, guys, none of this shit happened that long ago. They're gaslighting the shit out of you with these millions of years deals. No, we don't have all this stuff was recent. The entire world was destroyed recently. More dinosaur footprints, sauropods, theropods. Toro National Park. This is in Bolivia. Look at that. Bolivia on the surface. Colorado, Wyoming, Oregon Trail, all over New Mexico, Arizona, California, West Texas, Central Texas, dinosaur and human footprints everywhere, and vehicle tracks all over America. Then I showed them in Sardinia. I showed them in Turkey. I showed them on Malta. Everywhere. They're all found together on the surface. Look at this. This is Bolivia. It's probably 12,000 feet above sea level in the Andes. Yeah, man. Yeah, there's no evolution. There's just not. All this strata is supposed to be in between 40 million and 560 million years old. And everything that you just saw is alive today. It's alive and well today, identical to its petrified counterpart. Gaslighting the shit out of you. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's so dumb. The whole thing's just so dumb. Just like this. Shit here's so dumb too. Share my screen. Yeah, man. I like to garden. But I'm never going to have this in my garden. Ben Shapiro Chia Pet. Man, I almost fell out of my chair when I saw this. It's even the sign. Ben Shapiro. Oh, man. You get so much trouble for that. Look, man. It's a Ben Shapiro Chia Pet. Yeah. He's such a shill. It's time to plant some facts and logic. Yeah, man. Such a dumbass dude. Oh, look. Graham Hancock. What do you do in your free time, Graham? Oh, Randall and I watch Archaeology. There you go. Got it from the man himself. There you go. Ben Shapiro was running a scam on you. Yeah, I can probably put a, I don't know about 20 minutes. I got so much fossil data. I don't know if I can squeeze it in 50 minutes. 20 minutes. Yeah, I don't know about that one. All right, so don't get triggered. I have one image and 2 short videos I want to show. Listen, we're all about getting down to the truth. I'm a simulationist, so I am not offended by flat earth theory. I do have some disagreements with it, but as a simulationist, I understand that, especially in computer parlance, you're not going to build anything in a 3D computer structuring without first having a plane. The plane in computer in building worlds, MMAs, and all that. For any world building programs, they must begin on the plane. So I don't know, man. I have a meme that's bothering me, and I need some of you are far more qualified to answer this than I, but it's stumping the shit out of me. So I'm going to share my screen. Maybe you can answer this for me. But if something is true, we'll always be able to see it in its most simplistic form. We already know there's many anomalies about the sky, but this right here troubled me when I saw it. So Mercury is the closest to the surface of the sun. The sun is supposed to be 93 million miles away. Venus is the next one after Mercury, and Venus is the only thing between Earth and Mercury. So Venus and Mercury will always be closer to the sun than we are. So here's the question that the meme is asking. So if Mercury and Venus are always on the sun side, Earth is 93 million miles out, way out here. At nighttime, which is facing away from the sun, we're only going to see space pointing away from the sun. How is it even possible that we see Mercury and Venus? Would somebody answer that? How is it possible? Because we see the stars Mercury and Venus, or what they tell us is Mercury and Venus, all the time. We have computer astrolabs that will tell you the exact location of every planet in the sky. But how do we see them at nighttime if they're the other direction? I'm just curious, man. Answer that for me. There may be an answer. I'm genuinely curious. How do we see Mercury and Venus if they are that way? And if you can only see them at night when we face that way. I'm not saying I have the answer, but I'm just telling you, the flat earthers got me with this one. They got me here. As a simulationist, I don't care. I believe all the sky is simulated, just like most of history. But still, this is a really compelling argument.
I got it. I got it. I got it.
There it is. Yeah, we got it. Yeah. Okay, let me get it.
Look at this. Let's get our measurements.
Exactly. You got it? You got it. You got it at that level. Holy crap. That is almost the entirety of Los Angeles right there. A flash from the entirety of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Shelly.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
18 miles, 3 feet above sea level.
Okay. Yeah, so camera height, I got to take those in my car. So I'll leave it sitting here and we can verify it later. But yeah, there it is. There it is.
Oh,
Yeah, get on.
so killer.
Get on right there. Keep it. Oh my goodness.
A little bit down. A little bit down if you can.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. This looks so good.
ACS?
Dude, it looks like it's sunset. It looks like it's looking at the turn reflecting off the water. It looks like it's sunset.
See that? 18 miles.
Dude, that looks so good. Wendell, oh my gosh. It seriously looks like the sun setting. 18 miles. That is so crazy.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
See that, Rich?
Oh, cool. Actually, put Mike's that up there.
So this is another one. Now, I just found out about this Los Angeles over the Bay Area. I just found out that's a laser experiment, 18 miles with a laser 4 feet on the beach, 4 foot above sea level, 18 miles away on a camera on a tripod, can see it and film it at 4 feet above the sand. There's supposed to be curvature here, but there's not. I know there's arguments for that because the globe crowd claims they got some weird claims that the light bends in proportion to the deal. Well, anyway, it's a 155 foot bend for 18 feet. That laser is absolutely straight, but according to the globe model, there would be a declivity of 155 feet on 18 miles. That's how you would, that the tripod that's issuing the laser should be 155 feet over the horizon. You should not see that laser. That laser should be something you see as a line, and the camera should get it as a line, but not straight at the camera. So this was their experiment to prove to themselves that they're on a flat plane. I've heard the globe arguments that that was only possible because the laser bends over the curvature of the water. I don't know where they get this shit from, but this was the explanation. Also, there's another explanation that, yeah, the Earth may be a globe, but water surfaces on it will be flat. You know, water seeks its own level, so water is going to be flat. Well, you can't say that Los Angeles's bay, 18 miles of water, is going to be flat, and then at the same time saying that over the Pacific it's curved. You don't get to choose when. Water either seeks its own level or it's magically curved everywhere. And if it's magically curved everywhere, then that 18-mile distance could have never been registered on both sides at 4-foot altitude above sea level. So to me, they prove that, it's flat surface, no doubt. And until somebody else can come up with a more compelling argument, they show that experiment's there is pretty interesting. Pretty damn interesting. Well, I can see y'all can't see that, so I'll start over here. All right, so this is the footage of a rocket. They're claiming the rocket went to such high altitude it actually hit the firmament. This is what it's supposed to look like. Looks a lot like water to me. That's a little short clip. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. It looks like water to me. Which is never going to surprise me. I'm not going to be surprised about it. I'm not going to be surprised about it at all. Yeah, we're going to get to that Iran, United States stuff here in a minute. I got a few more things. Oh, let's visit Professor Zhang. What's he been up to? Remember, from the very first appearance of Professor Zhang, I've been telling you guys something is not right. I go with my intuition. My intuition is screaming that he's an op. So, this is the guy. I know a bunch of people fell for him. I feel sorry for you, but it is my habit. I love telling you, I told you so. I do it all the time. I'm going to do it in this video. I'm going to show you old predictions clips that I did 5, 6, and 4 years ago that all the events are unfolding right now. This is the guy. Now, a lot of people have fallen for this guy, and it's okay. It's okay. And there's also a lot of people coming out like Flint Dibble, who he doesn't like Graham Hancock either, but he's actually a uniformitarian archaeologist, so he ain't gonna like me either at all. But Flint Dibble's been getting on him too, man. Profit or fraud, but so's a lot of people. But here's a really interesting clip. So he was just recently interviewed, and you got to understand, man. So some of his information might be right. Yeah, they might be, but I've told you that his talking points to me sound like an intelligence agency think tank is harvesting all the best theories off the internet, packaging them up and giving them to him as talking points. And I can't, like I already showed you guys, his rise is unlike any. There is only one person in all of social media who has risen so fast like this person, and that's the Haktui girl, and that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. I guess they're calling it AstroTurf now.
You're an English lit graduate, and you're not a professor. I know it's your YouTube moniker, but you're a high school teacher. You're not actually a professor.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not a professor. I'm not a professor, but I never said I was a professor. It's the internet who called me.
Hold on.
Hi, YouTube. This is Professor Jiang. Hi, YouTube. This is Professor Jiang. Professor Jiang here. Professor Jiang here. Professor Jiang here. Professor Jiang here.
You do call yourself Professor Jiang, and you're not a professor.
Look. There's a guy on the internet who calls himself the God.
I'm good friends with a radio host called Charlemagne the God, but no one actually thinks he's a god. People actually think you're a professor.
Professor Jiang here.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you guys. More and more is going to end up coming out about this guy. More and more is going to come out. Just like Göbekli Tepe, more and more is going to be discovered, showing you that the date's younger and younger and younger, just like I've been saying for 6 years. More and more is going to be coming out about this dude, Professor Zhang. They're going to find out. People are just going to find out, man. He's absolutely total fraud. It doesn't mean the things that he's saying are necessarily wrong. That is not how a plant would work. They have to gain public trust first. And once they have millions of people following them, then they're given their talking points by the intelligence agencies on where to guide the public. If you don't think that's real, I'm going to show you another clip that talks about just that. Just that. Matter of fact, let's find it. Where's that one at? Because it's all fake and staged, every bit of it. Professor Zhang. Yeah. Pay attention. Before I show you this clip, I want you to think long and hard about every single person and personality like myself who's come up in social media. Now, you guys know I came up the organic way. I had 300 videos before I even had 1,000 subs, and I have a long publishing history way before I started on YouTube. It's been a battle, but I did rise pretty fast, but I brought something totally novel to the table as well. I made claims that no one else was making. And my claims were very bold. And this is what got me popular. And my claim was I'm going to show you from the historical record that we live in a simulation. And that's what I've done on my channel. I believe I've done it overkill. I have provided you so much calendric data that's in the field that you can verify. And yet I'm also telling you it cannot possibly be true. That's why Archaeology is an acronym. Advanced Research of Chronological History of Artificial Intelligence X. I believe Roko's basilisk was already awakened years ago. So, when you listen to this clip now, think about all those people you formerly listened to and formerly trusted that you can't stand now because you know that they have changed their stance on something that was important. You know that they have done a complete turnaround. You know that they are no longer telling you the truth. Something happened and you don't resonate with those people anymore. Yeah, listen to this very carefully. Well, it'd be better if I put it over here first. Yeah, listen to this one real careful. Here it is.
Saying like somebody's an operative or whatever word you want to use, they're not like walking around on their off time, just pulling out their secret CIA ID card and badging into the main building. That's not what happens. Even if you go back to Project Mockingbird, they're just getting some talking points in a letter every once in a while. They're just saying, oh, you know what? Don't have this guy on your show, or don't allow this to be spoken about on your show. Or if they talk about this, you're going to cut it out. There's simple things like that. Some very basic instructions. And the way that somebody like a Gen Z person might get recruited is, let's just use you as an example. Somebody comes up and says, hey man, I love your podcast, yada, yada. They're in a restaurant, a bar, whatever. And they say, I have a serious question for you though. Are you a patriot? Would you consider yourself a patriot? Now I've got you locked into identity, right? And then I say, well, I have an offer for you, but before I show you anything, I just want you to say yes or no. Would you be willing to entertain the offer and look at what I have? And it might be uncomfortable. Would you be willing to look at it?
Sure.
Yep. Stage one is I show you all of your browsing history, captures from your webcams on all of your phones and computers of you doing the most compromising shit you could ever possibly imagine. Every bad thing you've ever done recorded in some way. And I'd say, I like your podcast. I think you're doing a great job and I want to protect you. And I want to keep all this from the public eye. But we also want to give you $20,000 a month. So now you feel like you chose all of this. So you walk away not feeling like I shoved this in your face. I told you it was going to be stressful and you agreed to it. And you agreed that you're a patriot and all the other agreements. And now if you say yes, the reason that you're doing this on your podcast is for your country, because you're not going to call yourself compromised. We have this thing called cognitive dissonance. that keeps our brain from thinking I'm a bad person. So now, even though you're being asked to silence people, not have certain people on the show, leave something out of your podcast, you're telling yourself, and this, whoever's your handler is telling you, this is for the greater good. And you kept the Americans safe by doing that. And you'll tell yourself that, and you'll feel good about it. So when a person is like in this situation, they will feel good about what they're doing. Even if it feels a little off in the back of their mind, they'll still feel like, at the end of the day, I'm doing the right thing.
That's some real shit. And it makes sense too, because I'm going to tell you now, I've been wrestling with things. You guys know that when Billy Carson and I got into it, he had sent emails to almost everybody he's ever networked before. And I believe this is why, like Greg Braden was invited onto my channel twice. He has ghosted me both times. He's not the only ones. There's been a lot of big people, you know, I have invited to my channel. I have been blacklisted. Yeah, I found out later that Billy Carson, when I was first critiquing him, especially when he published his Emerald Tablets and I exposed that whole book as a fraud, and I did that video, he sent emails to everybody talking about, man, do not work with Jason of Archaics and all that. And some people have sent me those emails. I'm like, wow, man. So I'm wondering how much damage that did. But I kind of feel that Gaia is also doing that. I feel that Ancient Apocalypse, of course, in all of Graham Hancock's crowd. Yeah, I have personal friends who know Graham Hancock. They've even asked him straight up, why are you steady ignoring this guy? He's getting more and more traction, more and more popularity, and so far there isn't anyone who's ever been able to break one of his data sets. When he says something is historically verifiable, you better take it to the bank. So listen, I wonder how many of listen, here's another question. Don't name no names. We're not trying to put anybody on blast. But my Archaics veterans, you know how many people that I've had on my channel as guests who no longer email me, message me, talk. None of them. Yeah, I'm a whole bunch of people that formerly been on this channel, ghosting. That's what I think of when I listen to shit like this. Yeah, they haven't approached me yet. I mean, I did tell you about those two Jews that came to my property and paid me $4,000 tried to pay me $4,000 to work with J Dreamers. And then I told you guys about that. But I mean, I kept my word with them because I let them sweat it out for 2 or 3 days because they were blowing up my emails. Then they started blowing up my phone number. I don't know how they got my phone number. They started blowing up my phone number, talking about we need to meet. We can meet in public, any place you choose, anywhere you want to meet. We're cool with it. You can bring witnesses, whatever. We just need to talk to you about taking these pictures down because I put their actual faces on YouTube, and many of you saw that. And when we met in public, I had 4 witnesses right there when they paid me $4,000, not to work with J Dreamers, because I told them to F off. I don't even like that dude. But I told him, no, you can pay me that same $4,000 that you were going to pay me for working for this shill. I said, you can give me that money right now, and I'll take your faces off of YouTube. They says, okay, cool. Right there. Gave me the money. And as a gentleman, I sat there and showed them on my phone, and we went our separate ways. They have never attempted to contact me since. But yeah, man. How many of the people that formerly worked with me fell for this shit right here? Yeah, I can agree why you listen. I'm not embarrassed about anything. I can't be. I can't afford to be. Hell, 17 years old, I fucking fucked my whole life up and went to prison for 26 years. Yeah, I can't afford to be embarrassed. All I can do is move forward. And besides, if they got clips of me doing compromising shit, I'd probably just get more popular with the ladies. That's all that would happen. Oh, man. It's too much. It's too much. How do I say it? It's so dumb. Yeah, man. So dumb. So I'm going to remove that one. So here's something else. This is real deep too, man. And all this is leading up to what we're going to be talking about. Iran, Israel, the United States. Because my perspective is very, very different than all the doomsaying and all the shit that's going on in the field. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all cover story. But in order to get that, we got to look at some other stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah, the shit is real. It's not just people signing the contract. Let me show you. This is where we're at right now. Oh, I did it again. Let me get this guy off my. There we go. Yeah.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to quickly make this video to prove to you that we can no longer trust anything that we see with our eyes. We can't trust images that we see on social media. We can't trust videos. We can't trust our friends. We can't trust the news. We can't trust anything or anyone. So be careful out there.
Man, that is so real. It's so real. Just like Professor Jean, you don't know if that dude's real or not. But if you think the AI stuff on deceiving us in the public is anything new, it's not. It's a new technology. But let me show you this video clip from 1968.
A bunch of truthers. This is BBC. Told you this. You're going to make this happen.
No. We're going to make models much cheaper than we photograph the models.
Fake news rooms.
Fake news rooms. For the past 10 years, people have been looking at our fake news rooms and listening to our fake commentary.
And they accept it for the truth. And you can do it. Stop 100 people in the street. How many of them have actually seen a missile or a satellite? They're just told they exist and they believe it.
Yeah, you're getting there. Maybe you would. You didn't really believe there were all these things whizzing about up there, did you? Sputniks and rockets? Astronauts crossing their legs for 8 days.
How long has this been going on?
Since Hiroshima.
And the H-bomb, you mean, that doesn't work either?
Right. Dirty.
Very, very dirty.
What was your first reaction? Relief. Oh, yes. Yes, it has to be. Relief.
You say you can put out what pictures you like on television. Doesn't anybody try to stop you?
Well, nobody wants to. 99.386% of the population wouldn't believe this conversation. And the rest are working for us. They're the top minds, the really responsible people. Scare an ostrich, buries its head in the sand. You scare a hedgehog, it rolls itself up into a ball. When a woman's frightened, she goes out and buys herself a hat.
You mean you scare us so that we'll buy more, so that money moves quicker, production moves up?
We don't say scare when we talk about human beings. We say threaten them emotionally. And in all sorts of ways, not just the big ones like the hydrogen bomb. Overcrowd them a little with bad planning. Sell them too many motor cars. Anything to keep them a little bit removed from reality. Nowadays, people don't work for money. They work for the idea of money. They don't even love for love. They love for the idea of love. They only hate for the idea of hate. It took us 5 years to find a non-addictive league of nice little hallucinations. They can talk like 3-year-olds. Throw flowers at policemen. Politicians are easy to control. The grosser mentality boys who like to be photographed in and out of tables in Whitehall. They come right at the bottom of our organization. A few rungs up the ladder, there are the people in the top secret factories. Just those in a position to know they're making weapons that don't really work.
There's come a time when somebody wants to use one of those weapons. I mean, somebody is standing there with a finger on the button.
Well, that's the beauty of it. Nobody presses the button.
Nobody presses the button. Netanyahu, for 30 years, every year, told his people the Iranians are just 30 days away from making a nuclear weapon. There's a guy on YouTube that's got a clip he did of Netanyahu every year, a different speech where he said this. That's been his catchphrase his entire political career. Yeah, man. I don't believe in nuclear weapons either. I believe they carpet bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You can make a dirty bomb. Yeah, imagine putting a whole bunch of uranium and plutonium inside of like Moab, the mother of all bombs. Yeah, dropping it. Yeah, you'd think you got nuked. there would be radiation for people to detect, but it wasn't a nuclear bomb, a nuclear missile. Another thing that really bothered me was when I used to believe in the nuclear warheads and stuff. Then I saw the videos of the models showing the little small models. I'm like, wow, man, they really did fool us. But even more so, it was crazy that I saw in some real estate websites where these are 1950s and 60s and 70s intercontinental ballistic warhead silos that you can buy now. And there's people buying them and turning them into 7 and 8 story like apartments, badass places to live. Man, I live in a badass silo in a cornfield in Ohio. I live in this badass missile silo. So I'm like, damn, in the real estate world, they're selling some of these silos for people to live. So that begs the question, when the hell did they ever disassemble these 400 or 4,000 ton giant vehicles? Where did they put all that metal? When did they have a team go in there and take this? If they didn't launch it, they built the silo and it was supposed to be hidden for all these years until we have a nuclear now. But now they're admitting they never even built any missiles and the silos are empty and they're on the real estate market. Then when did a group ever come in here and demo the rocket? Do you have any idea how much work it would be to take that apart inside the silo? Never happened because they never built them. Yeah, man. It's all BS. It's all BS. Yeah, man. So many things we've talked about. So many things we've talked about. It's crazy. So as the Nemesis X tertiary field gets closer and closer, anticipated first by the Phoenix convergence field, in May of 2040, followed by 2046 Nemesis X, more and more strange activity and phenomena is going to occur. I've been telling you guys for a couple of years, more and more Phoenix-related phenomena is going to occur. Red dust, red rain, red mud, subsidence, upheaval, fish, cockroaches, different stuff falling from the sky. It's all parthenogenesis. Remember, we live in a construct. We do not live in the Newtonian universe. We don't live in the world that they tell us that we live in. There's something else going on here. We live in a very controlled environment. All kinds of things happening around the world. Let's see what's going on here. See what this is about. Share my screen. All the power went out. Can you imagine sitting there and the power goes out and the person sitting next to you disappears? But something was in that field. Something was in that area that knocked him down onto the ground because he fell. He's looking in the pool trying to figure out where she went. He's going back to the chair, making sure she's not there. Watch that again. Yeah, somebody said the power went out with not the cams. Listen, my camera setup, they have auxiliary batteries. The power can go out and I'm still filming. I even have night vision on my cameras. So I don't know if that's the case here, but yeah, it's going to take a lot more than the power going out for my cameras to go offline. I thought that was cool. Guess I can't go I got to remove that. Man, I wish StreamYard had a better way to do this. Do that again. Video again. Some of you in Australia had an interesting time recently. Look at this. What the hell do you think this is? Something tore that shark's ass up. Watch that again. I'm gonna play it again. There's a shark trying to get the hell away from something, and it looks like it's long and slender. Maybe a sea snake.
Dog.
Yeah, man. I don't know what that was, but yeah, there's dragons in those waters. You ain't gonna catch me out there. I'm not with it. Bunch of you know what this is. This happened in Australia recently. Bunch of y'all saw this. Man, video. There we go. Yeah, I've got Aussies emailing me telling me this happened. I got another clip. I think it's slightly different. So crazy. But we've seen these before. I mean, it happened a lot in 2014, 2018. Charles Fort's got a whole bunch of them. But this is what happens on the Phoenix years too. Every 138 years. 1902 was bad with this. Red dust, red rain, red mud, all over the world, reported all over the world in 1902. Try and gaslight you and talk about this is sand from the Sahara. Charles Fort over 100 years ago said that was bullshit. It's the same explanation the meteorologists were giving a century ago. Yeah, that's crazy. It is crazy, man. There's no doubt. So I'll remove that one. Yeah, phenomena is awesome. I'm not going to get into a lot of it, but it's just good. It's really interesting shit. I've been under some badass storms, and I've even showed some on YouTube when I was driving into them. But I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this.
Oh man, look at that. It's like a giant wave just frozen in the sky. Smooth on top, all that chaos rolling underneath. Sunlight's painting it pink, but down there it's midnight blue. We're driving right toward it. Unreal. You can almost feel the weight of that thing.
Hell yeah. When you see things like that, it's pretty easy to imagine a vapor canopy. All you need is a couple willing volcanoes under the ocean. We'll have a vapor canopy fast. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Yeah. A submarine volcano is going to put out a lot more moisture into the mesosphere than an ordinary land-based volcano. Now, don't get me wrong, land-based volcanoes still have a whole bunch of water coming out with all that ash and pumice. Yeah, the waters boil in the volcano. They boil. Now the magma comes up and becomes lava that spills over. But there's a lot of moisture in there too, billowing straight up. That's the black fumes or ash and moisture. When that shit fills the mesosphere, it's not going to take long at all to create that vapor canopy. Look at me giving a visual tour today. What's going on? So, y'all, hey, take it tongue in cheek. Take it tongue in cheek. I did think this is pretty interesting. And because we do have a lot of phantom, they're called derelict. We have a lot of phantom vessel stories from the 16, 17, and 1800s, like the Mary Celeste. So we have many incidents in the Bermuda Triangle where pilots and mariners swear up and down that they were looking at vessels that were from another century or a whole nother epic time period in around Bermuda. Here's one of the incidents where they filmed something they think comes from another time period. Look at that again. Yeah, I don't know. One never knows this shit. It's just interesting. One never knows. I'm just knocking these files out before we move on to the future. So we'll go ahead and address this real quick. This is an interesting one too. Oh, I need to see them. Large icons. Oh, okay. I can see that.
The Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who claims.
Albert Pike, a 33rd degree Freemason, predicted it back in 1871. The Third World War will be triggered so that Islam and Israel destroy each other. A planned war designed to exhaust nations and impose a global Luciferian religion. This chaos was encoded long ago. The number 33 and the pyramid are the signatures of Freemasonry. Even George Washington was a member, but at the top, it's not God you find. It's Baphomet. The House of the Temple in Washington has 33 columns, each 33 feet tall, with a pyramid and a double-headed eagle, the same eagle used by the Russian Empire, yet they make you believe they're on opposing sides. The Israeli Supreme Court, again, a pyramid donated by the Rothschilds, and once more, the Iranian Parliament, a pyramid with 33 windows. Coincidence? I don't think so. After all, who owns the world? BlackRock, the Black Cube, just like the Islamic Kaaba, Jewish Kabbalah, or Trump Tower. All aligned around the same symbol. And what do you find at the center of a Masonic lodge? A black cube, the cube of Saturn. A master mason knows the script, the others just follow it, and as long as you pick a side, you're doing exactly what they want you to do. You become a willing extra in their movie.
That's right. I've been telling you guys that the people calling the shots, they're known as the Exilarchy. And they are not in Israel. They are in Iran. But you know what? It's neither here nor there. This is the way it was for centuries. If it's still that way today, I don't know. But I do agree with that video clip that Iran is involved and Iran is working with the United States and with Israel. This is not a war. This is long-term planning. The world, you know, it looks like a war from the perspective of the outsiders, you know, looking in. And yeah, it's a military operation, but it's not a war. And the goal is the same. The goal is absolutely the same. So with this religious programming, You have to understand the people that have all the money, they could easily change the world and make it, you know, into somewhere where we can all get along just fine. But they don't. They're Luciferian, they're satanic, they're reptoid, whatever. They're the David Icke version. Who knows, man? Let's show this. Whatever they are, they're anti-human. The reason I know they're anti-human is because there are solutions. There are absolute solutions. There are people in this world who can provide solutions so fast and that everything would change. But it's never going to happen. There's never been a golden age. And we're always going to leave this world as wicked as we found it. Warren Buffett was a man who had some solutions. Let me show you a clip about Warren Buffett. What Warren Buffett said. Somebody asked Warren Buffett, how would you clean this mess up? That man said it quick. And if we actually did what he said, it'd clean the whole world up fast.
The deficit in 5 minutes. You just pass a law that says that anytime there's a deficit of more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election. Yeah. Now you've got the incentives in the right place.
That's it. Let him repeat that.
I can end the deficit in 5 minutes. You just pass a law that says that anytime there's a deficit of more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election. Yeah. Now you've got the incentives in the right place.
That's right. That's all you got to do. Incentivize. That's all you got to do. It'd have been done. Whole world would change like that if we held them accountable. We can't even hold our judges in the United States accountable. They can do whatever they want. They can release anybody they want who gets out and murders a whole bunch of people, man. They turn around, gaslight everybody with some liberal speech. But yeah, our judiciary, in the United States, our judiciary, they should have. Yeah, there should be some checks and balances where judges can go to prison for really effing off people's lives. There's no doubt. No doubt. So this whole religious context going back and forth, and listen, the rise of the Christian Reich, it's here. You guys know it. It's here. I mean, when you see things like this, the president's spiritual advisor, look at this. This is equally as horrific. This is equally as horrific of everything else out there that's in the field that's connected to religion. This is coming from conservative Christianity in the United States. This is where we're at. It is so, it's evil, absolutely evil. Yeah, man. All pretending to be smitten with the Spirit. I've been to Pentecostal meetings when I was a kid. You guys know I was raised Southern Baptist. I've rebelled against the church. Listen, I was a Bible thumper for the first 40 years of my life. So I get it. But man, that's Paula White. Yes, that's Paula White. She's criminal. She did a speech the other day, all dramatic, talking about she's going to withhold the Spirit until a certain amount of money was raised for whatever she was trying to grift on that time. But that's what she does. And she's sitting there and acting. Here, that sound you heard was her blowing on the mic as if the Spirit, the eternal Spirit of the living God needed her help. This dude's not going down. Come on, man. You see him push that dude? Yeah, she couldn't blow him down. So that's so dumb. There's that catchphrase again. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. So they're trying to get ahead. They're trying to get ahead of shit with the reptilian deal. We've already talked about that too. But I do want to bring something to your attention. Has anybody seen anything like this before? I did not notice this. Well, there are so many mysteries about the dollar bill, so many symbols. You know, I showed you guys the owl that was hidden on the dollar bill, and you know that's like a Bohemian Grove symbol. Well, what about this, man? How did we miss that backfield webbing looks very reptilian, that skin? How did we miss that? How did we miss that, man? So concerning, you guys know that I recently did a video explaining that David Icke might be right about the reptilians and that they're getting ahead with the demon face syndrome. They're getting ahead of something. When people start seeing shape changers actually lose their shit and they're not able to maintain, and their reptilian features come back out, and then they're human, and then they maintain their composure. Listen, this is crazy, guys. I know it's crazy, but that's exactly what would happen in a convergence field. When the closer Nemesis X gets, the more the reptilian field is here. This is the parthenogenetic effect on our plane, as I've explained in many videos. This is why we have the Native American totem pole showing them fighting and domesticating large, gigantic reptiles and amphibians that just so happen to look like stegosauruses and all kinds of weird prehistoric creatures that allegedly lived 65 million years ago. But they're on Indian totem poles. They're on the Ica stones. They're on the Acambaro artifacts. They're on the Cambodian temples. We find them in medieval art everywhere, in medieval churches. The dinosaurs are everywhere. They call them different stuff. You already know in Beowulf, they called them grindles. So the closer we get to the field, they're going to start inventing more and more gaslighting, like the demon face syndrome. Demon face syndrome is making the person who sees the shapeshifter lose his shit. That person is the one with the psychosis, not the shapeshifter. The person who sees. It's called they're literally calling it demon face syndrome. And it's when you see a human with reptilian features, it's you. You're the problem. Yeah, I showed this in a recent video. So they're getting ahead of this shit. This is why I've been telling you guys that the alien card, the alien invasion card, is the very last on the playbook. It has to be the last. The reason they haven't brought it out yet is because the Nemesis X tertiary field isn't close enough to us yet for them to lose their shit and then not be able to masquerade as humans. They will always look reptilian. But the closer that field gets, because with 2046, it's full immersion. We are in full tertiary immersion with the Nemesis X plane in 2046, as I've showed you guys in the chronology over and over and over and over. The closer we get to that, they're going to be losing their shit, unable to shape change, unable to maintain the human appearance. And they're getting ahead of it with the demon face syndrome, but they're also getting ahead of it like this. The alien card is the last because that's the major one they're going to pull. But until then, they're doing shit like this. Let me show you. These people are genius at what they do, guys. They're genius. I got to show it to you.
I mean, I had someone come and brief me who was in a military uniform, worked for the United States Army, that was briefing me on the locations of hybrid breeding programs where captured aliens were breeding with humans to create some hybrid race that could engage in intergalactic communication. An actual uniformed member of the United States Army briefed me on that.
Non-human biologics, interracial alien mating? What the F is going on? Look, wait a second. You had whistleblowers tell you this kind of thing? Can you please unpack that?
Yeah, I had a guy who was uniformed. He was a senior enlisted with the United States Army. Came into my office in Crestview, Florida, in a non-classified setting. I had members of my staff there, and what they explained is that the military ran a very secret program where aliens that were living were in forced breeding programs with humans that had been abducted from war zones and from even the caravans of migrants. Now, again, I didn't verify this, but what the whistleblower was telling me is that there were like between 6 and 12 locations around the country where this happened. And what he wanted was a group, members of Congress, to all show up at the same time at all of these different locations so that any of those activities could not be moved. And of course, it's a physical impossibility to get members of Congress to simultaneously show up at like 8 locations at one time. And so that never occurred.
Okay. So I'm not saying that there isn't a hybridization program, but I'm going to call a spade a spade. If he's telling the truth and he was visited by anybody in the military that was in the know, I promise you, then it was the military that wanted the information out there. Yeah, this is a controlled leak. There's no way a whistleblower came forward and told him that, and then he got on social media or on media and said what he said if it wasn't with the full blessing of the intelligence apparatus. Because Matt Gaetz, whatever his name is, would have had handcuffs on him. They would have detained him. They would have put him away because this would have been top secret, access only. And no. These men don't really reveal things like this unless it's not for the public to know. Somebody in the public wants to know that we are already in possession of extraterrestrials. Somebody wants the public to know that there's even 12 facilities out there where abducted humans, the migrant population that came in, which I told you years ago, that they were going to take those people and do things to them. They were going to organ harvest them. They're going to work them to death in underground facilities for the rich and elite and for the military industrial complex, waiting on the Phoenix phenomenon in the Nemesis X period. Yeah, man, Soylent Green, all that shit. Yeah, all those millions of migrants that were invited, they literally came from all these Central American countries, Mexico, South America. They came over the border. Every bit of that was a farce. It was literally harvesting humans. They just got all these people because they're not here. They are not here in the American society. You can't go to a Home Depot parking lot now like you could 3, 4, and 5 years ago and see them all hanging around doing shit. That's done. No. Yeah, this homeless population has been taken care of quite a bit. So has the migrant population in Texas and America. Yeah, they're always passing over the border, but once they're rounded up and they're taken to these facilities, we don't know where the hell they're going. We don't. Nobody's keeping up with that shit. There was millions of these people. Nobody's keeping up with this shit where they are. So it's so crazy. They're getting ahead of it. They're getting ahead of the fact that the closer we get to the Nemesis X tertiary field and the parthenogenetic changes are going to happen with amphibians and reptiles all over the world, it's because they're going to be at ascendant. Nemesis X, reptiles, amphibians, and avians are at ascendant. We're in a vapor canopy world. It's totally different. And the shape changers that live among us right now are unable to masquerade as humans in that vibratory field because that's their field. They are at the ascendant. They cannot change into the illusion of shape changing does not work in full tertiary immersion. And this is why they're getting ahead of it with demon face syndrome. They're getting ahead of it with the hybridization. So they can always gaslight you and say, no, you didn't listen. You saw what you saw. But this is a very secret project, and sometimes they're not able to maintain these alien hybrids we're creating. Sometimes they can't maintain their disguise in public very well. They're going to be gaslighting the shit out of us all the way to the Nemesis X event, because once the Nemesis X tertiary field event comes, that's when their alien invasion will occur, because they're already here and they've been here. They're the reptilian shape changers David Icke's been telling us about for years. But it's during that period they will not be able to conceal themselves. So they're going to be walking openly among us, because before 2046, they're already going to lay the groundwork for contact period. They're going to come, behold, we come in peace. All this bullshit. All this, it's so dumb. But this is what they're going to do. And the world's going to fall for it. What, hook, line, and sinker. What's crazy about it is even after falling for the whole right-left quandary, even after the whole polarity of Republicans and Democrats, even after falling for all the TPUSA narrative BS, after falling for good versus evil BS, white hats versus black hats BS, the Patriot Pacification Program, the whole East versus West and communism versus republicanism and democracy bullshit. These people, Christians, have fallen for every single paradigm. And what's so crazy about it? So crazy about it. They've fallen for the COVID. They're the ones that got jabbed up the most. I love my Christian brothers and sisters, but they're absolutely lost and clueless. Worshiping the very culture of people, Jews that hate their guts. They are clueless, absolutely clueless. And it's the Christians, especially the Christian right, not the Reich, the right, that's going to fall for the whole extraterrestrial psyop. They're going to be hugging on to those lizards. We love you, our space brothers. It's so dumb, but that's the script, and they're all going to fall for it. Why? Because people are basically stupid. It's just dumb. So dumb. You know it. You guys fighting that shit. You're trying to fight it. Yeah, man. So crazy. So I already got this one. I don't know what this is. Hold on. Let me see this.
It's Walmart.
Oh, yeah. I've already shown the Albert Pike.
Not the
Yeah, Morals and Dogma. I already showed that one. So, I'm going to show you a Trump clip from 1987. This is Donald J. Trump, 1987. All right.
Plenty because of Iran. Because I'm running for the presidency. I'm here because I'm personally tired of seeing this great country of ours being ripped off.
But as far as Trump is concerned, our allies are only part of the problem. The real culprit is Iran.
Why couldn't we go in and take over some of their oil, which is along the sea?
How would you do that? Would you send in the Marines? Would you take a chance in a war?
Let them have Iran. You take their oil. That's what
How?
How?
I mean, do we want a war? What do you mean
go
we
in,
take their oil?
You go in. You're
How
gonna have
do
a
we
war,
go
Barbara.
in?
You're going to have a war by being weak.
Okay, how do we go in? What do we do?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're going to have a war, and it's going to start in the Middle East.
What if the Soviet Union said, you do this to Iran, we're going to come in?
I don't believe they do it. The next time Iran attacks this country, go in and grab one of their big oil installations, and I mean grab it and keep it, and get back your losses, because this country has lost plenty because of Iran. Because I'm running for the president.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Trump said that. Well, he's running for the presidency. He asserted, "Oh, we are going to have a war with Iran." It's already in the script. They already knew this. This is long-term planning. It's long-term planning. So I gave a shout out earlier. I gave a shout out earlier to Jay-Z, putting a bunch of the pieces together about what's really going on. You know, let me share this real quick. You know, this happened earlier this year. And last year we had some of these incidents. So this is not an arbitrary map of North America. This too is the result of long-term planning. Right here. You know that the United States is very heavily involved with Venezuela now. We have a military operation in Venezuela. Allegedly, we took out the leader of Venezuela, but there's Venezuela. That's it. Venezuela is it for South America. The rest of South America is not a part of it. But Venezuela, and now we're getting more and more invested with Cuba. We're probably going to do an Operation Rescue Cuba. They've had no power. they've had riots, all kinds of stuff. But this is an old map. Allegedly Elon Musk's dad or grandfather had this map, and it's an in-game type map. So they want Greenland, all of Canada. They want the whole North America to be one state. This is basically it's a redesigning of the world map into 10 regions. It's almost apocalyptic, like the 10 Kings. But what's so interesting is that Jay-Z and other people are using AI to harvest all the data from all the presidential what is it called? The executive orders. And the actual what is it called? It's not a manifest. What is it called when like an international organization publishes its basically its goals. It's what it wants to do. Like, it's not a manual of operations, but you know what I'm talking about. It's when they make public their agendas, what they want to do. Well, these guys, also the treaties. The AI is going through the treaties. It's going through thousands of government documents. It's going through all these things. And Jay-Z brought this to my attention about a lot of this stuff, man. And what we're learning from the media is just cover story. What's really going on behind the scenes is going to blow your mind. And from our Archaecs veterans, the icing on the cake is that using calendrical isometrics, what I've taught you years ago, how to read the field, using calendrical isometrics, you'll see, because I'm going to show it to you. 7 minutes of video clips from my videos 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, where I was talking about this period right now. And I was doing it during a time right after January 6th, when the entire world was doomsaying and talking about, this is the new normal. This is the Democrats and the libs, they took over. Republicans and conservatives will never come back. They stole the presidency. When the world was doomsaying, right when COVID was at its height, people were locked down. They're frustrated as hell. All these things are going on. George Floyd, racial riots in America. All the world's doomsaying. I'm like the only voice in the world telling you guys that, listen, I'm reading the calendars, guys, and I'm telling you right now, I don't know if he's coming back as president, but Trump is coming back, and he is going to overturn this shit. He is going to initiate the controlled collapse of the Democratic Party, and he's going to end up being a bad guy. So all this is in these video clips. I'm going to show you. There's a lot predicted in those clips. Also about Iran, Dome of the Rock, all that shit. But I need to show you what this group that's analyzing all these thousands of international WEF documents, NATO documents, EU documents, Russian documents, United States President Executive Order documents, all this stuff. What it's saying, because none of it is made up. None of it is even a secret. They have literally published it for the public, and it's our fault for not putting it together. This is what's really happening in the world right now.
What if I told you there's a multi-trillion-dollar plan in motion to completely reshape North America? And what if I told you it wasn't a secret conspiracy, but a detailed strategy that's been synthesized from hundreds of public documents? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. We're connecting the dots on what the source material calls the Western Hemisphere Strategic Roadmap for 2026 to 2030. Now, here's the key thing to get your head around right from the start. The source material is adamant about this. None of this is a leak. It's not some hidden memo. Every single piece of this puzzle is apparently documented in public sources. It's all just been hiding in plain sight. So you take all those pieces, 445 different documents, and you start putting them together. What do you get? Well, you get a surprisingly coherent, multi-trillion-dollar plan to build something the source calls Fortress North America. So let's dig into what that actually means. So what does this fortress really look like? You know, what's the big idea here? The whole vision, it turns out, is built on 5 core strategic pillars. These are the foundations for the entire plan, representing a massive strategic shift away from globalization and towards, well, regionalization. Okay, so here they are. The pillars are Fortress North America itself, a capital inflow engine, industrial reshoring, digital infrastructure, and finally, energy dominance. Let's do a quick breakdown of what each of these is really about. So Pillar 1 is the big one. It's the namesake, Fortress North America. And the main goal here is pretty straightforward, to create a self-sufficient economic bloc right here on the continent, one that's insulated from global shocks, you know? So it doesn't matter if there's an energy crisis in the Middle East or a supply chain meltdown in China. Pillar 2 is what makes it all possible. It's the engine. The idea is to use trade leverage, things like tariffs, to basically funnel over $5 trillion of foreign money into very specific industrial projects right here. Projects directed by the US. It's about taking control of global capital flows. And all that money has to go somewhere, right? Well, that leads us straight to Pillar 3, industrial reshoring. That huge pool of capital is aimed squarely at rebuilding our domestic manufacturing, but only in the most critical sectors. We're talking semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, shipbuilding, and energy. Pillar 4 is kind of like the nervous system for this whole thing, digital infrastructure. The goal is to roll out AI and advanced surveillance to create what the documents actually call a real-time, monitorable continental economy. Think about that for a second. And that brings us to the fifth and final pillar, energy dominance. The end game here is to completely shift the world's energy dependency away from places like the Middle East and put it squarely onto North American production. The goal is for the United States to become the world's essential swing producer for oil and natural gas. So you might be asking, what kicks all of this into high gear? The analysis makes a pretty bold claim that major geopolitical crises, like the war in Iran, aren't actually a disruption to the plan. In fact, they're the opposite. They're an accelerant. They create the perfect justification to push this entire strategy forward and fast.
So recently I did a video, was it a week ago? I lose track. I'm involved in 3 different communities. My Cypher community, where we do date sequence predictive analytics on stuff. We just did NBA. I think last live video we did NBA predictions. And then my underground community, which tomorrow, Chat Tuesdays is on Wednesday, tomorrow. Yeah, because I drank that drink and it knocked me out yesterday. So I couldn't do this video. But I showed you in a previous presentation like a week ago that the United States has been engaged in long-term planning, and everything that we're doing over there, smoke and mirrors. We are literally putting it. Same thing I said 6 years ago in videos. The United States is going to get engaged into a war, and we are literally going to play weak. We are going to get our ass kicked, but it's all smoke and mirrors. We're actually doing something else. I said this in these videos. I said the United States is going to engage in a war that's specifically designed to get the United States people so pissed off that the government then will then win the hearts of the people by listening to them and just pulling back. And a bunch of the U.S. military will start leaving other countries, and that's the real agenda. Because once the United States has internalized its economy and brought all its boys home from all these military bases all over the world, it opens up the theater for all kinds of conflicts. People don't realize how much the United States presence, by having 50, 60 military bases spread all over this continent here, how it keeps all these countries in check from fighting each other. There's almost no checks and balances between Pakistan and India except the United States. And there's many other countries that want to take a bite out of another country, and the United States has always been in the way. We've always been in everybody's business, but I told you guys, we are going to pull back. We are going to rebuild our infrastructure. We are going to have a golden age that's going to spill over into other Western nations that are allied to us. And I've also told you it's coming fast. This plan you just heard that all these different government documents are talking about, it is for the years, specific target years was 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, and 2030. That's only 5 years. And the war in Iran was to spearhead it. So, like I said in all my old predictions videos, United States has positioned itself to be an oil superpower. And we did it all these years by buying other people's oils, importing it, but also having our own refineries. Like even right now, only 10% of all our imported, only 10% of our oil comes from imports. The rest of it is domestic. We're already in position. It only takes 180 days to get all the oil companies on board to build new subsidiary companies that will help support them in the field to do what all, the making of pipe and thread and everything they need, caps, all that stuff, fracking, everything that they need. New water companies to find ways to get water into the wells. This is something within 180 days. We can start becoming the world's greatest supplier in oil. We've always been in that position. So that's not this war is not even about oil. It's just that's just one of the one of the items, one of the it kind of is about oil, but we don't need the Middle East oil. What we need is to be 100% independent of the Middle East oil. That's what we need. So here is, now you just heard that video. Thank you, Jay-Z, for bringing that to my attention. So you just heard that video. So now I'm going to close this video out with a 7-minute clip. These are some of the things that I said in the year 2020. In 2020, 2021, 2022. I don't think any of these are from 2023, unless I'm relating the predictions videos from earlier. This is just something general interest. But yeah, I'm telling you now, this war seems really bad facially, but yeah, we're going to go through a dip. I promise you, it's going to get tight. Beans and rice and ramen noodle soups. We're not going to die. We're not going to starve. Just like 2020, we survived COVID. We're going to survive this too. But it's all planned. It's all designed to make it look like things are really. I mean, this is all engineered. It's not natural. They've been burning the farms. They've been damaging all the places that make food. It's all, yeah, it's if we go through some tightening of the belt times, it's not going to be full range starvation. It's not going to be Great Depression severe. It's just going to be noticeable. Like COVID was noticeable with so many things not on the shelves anymore. I mean, it's those girls going down the aisle, man. Everybody's buying food and toilet paper, worried about their ass and shit, and some girls are buying perfume. Like I said the other day, Jason, apocalypse is coming. I just want to smell good. Yeah, man. So I'll close this video out with this, and I might comment. I might make some commentator. I might comment on it. I don't know. I can't remember what's in this clip. We're going to start doing the world fairs again. I find this interesting because I got 3-year-old predictions videos where I'm telling everybody on my channel, listen, I don't care where the economy looks like it's going. I don't care what the media says, but real soon you're going to see a turnabout with the U.S. economy, and it's going to spike. And you guys are going to be real surprised that all this was in the plans. And that, and here it is. I just found this the other day. I didn't even know that Trump had said that.
And why would they put that in? There even claims the free energy technology utilized in Tesla towers, but they're on about they're on about Antiquitech.
Listen, they're bringing Trump in after they've already effed everything up to the point of no return. They're going to bring Trump back in as something. I don't know if he's going to be president or not, but they're going to bring him back in as something, and he's going to correct all these problems. He's going to be the savior. He's going to be the Prince of Peace. He's going to be all these things. But man, he's not. He's not. He's working for the tiny hats. I mean, I do have videos that go 4 years back explaining that we're going to see the rise of a Christian Reich. We're going to see the amalgamation of a new type of aggressive and yet very conservative Christianity that is going to mold the American politics, and all the politicians are going to get on board with it. And that, you know what? I think we're there. As opposed to 4 years ago, we're there now. And it's blossoming all around me. All these former Hollywood people now now converting to Jesus and Christianity, all these news pundits and all these, even the words dropping from mainstream media have these religious connotations with them now. It's very unusual. Outside the U.S., the media will brainwash the rest of the world into believing that the now isolationist United States is a Nazi-type government. New minimum wage law will be much higher. New American economic system will be employed. Major economic and infrastructure recovery throughout the U.S. Labor, jobs, employment opportunities will abound as soon as this president returns to office or returns to power. New U.S. administration allies itself with Russia. U.S. exits major international organizations. U.S. on bad terms with the Vatican. North American Chinese travel ends. Japan strengthens ties with the U.S. New American Manifest Destiny ideology kindles the United States people become an extremely rich isolationist nation. 5 years ago, I said you're going to watch night show hosts lose their jobs. Democratic political pundits get clowned on social media and lose their jobs. You're going to see all kinds of takedowns in the Democratic Socialist power structure. You're going to see conservatives and Republicans coming right back to power, and you're going to see the rise of a Christian Reich right here in America. Not a Christian right, not a Christian power base, but a Reich. I also said you're going to see anti-Semitism soar in the United States like never before. Every bit of that is in my old predictions videos. And back then, I was called everything but a child of God. My predictions videos were too early. It's going to be a return to isolationism. This is something I show in my predictive videos as well. We're going to be heading into a whole new area, a whole new idea of civilization. It's going to happen fast. I see the United States becoming absolutely isolationist, and the hundreds of billions of dollars that we give other countries every single year is about to be internalized into our own infrastructure. I see the economy being boosted. I see great things for the United States of America economically coming very fast. I also see that this is going to have an effect on other countries in the world. Isolationism, when the United States decides to become isolationist because the conservatives, Republicans have had enough, because liberalism and Democrats push globalism, what I'm seeing in the isometrics is very telling. I'm seeing a very, very powerful rise of the United States, but it's going to internalize. It's going to start dealing with its own issues and start staying out of everybody else's business, which is going to open the door for everybody else to get in each other's business. Now, at the same time, I don't like some of the things I'm seeing, because it's in the United States, we're going to have a really weird thing unfolding. They're like a Sodom and Gomorrah type society, but at the same time, a very Puritan government. Two major forces operating in the United States that work together. This causes problems. It's going to allow for the prosecution of a lot of people very easily. It's people like me will fall into disfavor. I'm an ex-con, or I spent most of my life in prison. It doesn't matter that I haven't had my shit together for 6 years. It doesn't matter, because this ultra-conservatism is dangerous, because it's going to come with the tainted element of full echelon of people who believe they are allied to God. And when you push Christianity onto a population and you start using statutes and penal codes to enforce your faith, that's the problem I'm going to see in the United States. New American economic system begins. The people benefits the people and brings much relief, spreads to other nations that are closely allied to the United States. USA embarks on a major infrastructure rebuilding and updating campaign. The USA will undergo a complete restructuring. Restructuring of the United States will bring back its economic superpower status, and very quickly. Anti-Semitism will erupt as Jewish conspiracies are widely publicized. Now, I don't know if that's just going to be in the United States. It's going to be here, but it could be abroad as well. So, though that list of predictions was 623 days ago, that was a long time ago. Very soon, this group, because they're a part of a group, they're going to be removed from power in the U.S. and replaced with those who will be accepted by the religious right with fervor that will soon turn into fanaticism. The U.S. and many other nations around the world will begin internalizing their economies and focusing on their own infrastructures. This distraction with events in the U.S. will allow opportunity in the Middle East. New hostilities will occur between Iraq and Iran, and several Islamic oil-producing states will begin preparing for an all-out war with Israel. The U.S. becoming energy independent is going to collapse economies elsewhere in the world. So that's just a few of the clips. I used to, for those who are new to my channel, you don't really know what we're talking about. I'm not a prophet. I'm not sitting here prophesying. I'm not going through news events and trying to extrapolate the trajectory of events. That's not what I do. That's what other people do. And some of them do it really good. But in reading the field as a chronologist and as a historian, I'm studying calendrics, because when events happen on the calendar in juxtaposition to other events, it gives us predictive value. These are mathematical exercises that I've showed my community multiple times. So there are ways to read the field. He says, I'm a simulationist, and I can't be anything but, because I've actually showed the history of the world. I show these beautiful mathematical patterns that unfold in tandem with historical events, and at the same time, I'm also telling you that none of it can be true. I can show you my bibliographies. I can chase the source materials. I can show you where all these are found in the archaeological, anthropological, historical, and traditional record, chapter and verse. I can show you where previous authors have dated things, and as I've shown my community over and over and over, I can show the mathematical structuring of history, and yet at the same time tell you that none of it can be true. We're living in a vast computerized program. How sophisticated that program is, I don't know. It might be some type of hyperdimensional spiritual technology. I don't know. I simply call it the simulacrum. It is a copy of somewhere else. But this predator versus prey ecosphere that we live in now is not the real world. There's nothing about this experience that's real. So this is not an actual experience. It is a perceived one. So I saw Adapt 2030 in the chat. I believe that's David Dubine. He has been invited. I don't know if he got the email or not, or maybe it was a message on X. I don't really differentiate. I send messages to people on X. Sometimes I send emails, but I sent him an email inviting him to talk as well, whether he wants to interview me or we just chat on Archaeology, whatever. But I just saw him pop up in the chat. I believe it's David Dubine. I'm terrible with names. You guys know I am. But yeah, I can show a whole bunch of clips of me all through the years, but you get the gist of it. I already knew the Israel-Iran conflict was coming. I knew it years ago, but so did a lot of other people. But what I have brought to the table, though, is from the beginning, I've been telling you guys see this real dark, nefarious history unfolding. I'm telling you not. I do not see that. Yeah, there's some dark shit, but everything is in preparation to the Phoenix. Yeah, the Phoenix phenomenon cycle goes 58 centuries back. There is absolutely no way that the military-industrial complex and the think tanks attached to it have not already figured out way more than I have divulged to you on my channel. And Marquez veterans, you guys know, when it comes to the 138-year patterning of the Phoenix phenomenon, you already know I've already made my case over and over and over, even in other dimensions of arithmetic. It's factual. I can confidently say it's factual because I can show it. But in the middle of the month of May in the year 2040 is going to be the tertiary field for the Phoenix phenomenon. It's only preparatory to a worse. It's going to be quaternary field then, because we'll still be in the residuum of the Phoenix field. So it's going to be a quaternary field. The last time this happened was 522 AD, and what was that? 300-year dark age. I told you guys, and I've never deviated from it. In the past 6 years, doing predictions videos, I told you guys that we're heading toward a utopian society. They are going to make the world utopian before the Phoenix phenomenon. So, and it seems like they're on an accelerated plan. It looks like the 2030 WEF goal is entirely true. So we have survived everything they've thrown at us in the past. We're going to survive all this too. But the utopian society that I explained to you guys 6, 5, and 4 years ago was a hedonistic. It's a really weird one. It's a really weird one. It's where hedonism abounds, and yet in the culture, and yet the government is strictly like super right, ultra conservative Christianity. It might be even Noahide type laws coming in 2033, 2034, 2035, leading up to 2040. What the field is showing is two diabolically opposing things, but they can work together. Because when the government, which is a minority, is heavily policing a much larger body that has totally different ideologies, like hedonism, it's absolutely totally different. It makes it so easy to govern. You cherry pick who you prosecute because everybody's involved. Everybody's involved in the activity. Also, I've also explained that in those predictions videos, there is evidence that it's not going to be cultural hedonism. It's going to be digital, meaning by 2030, I think they're going to have almost every home set up with the new metaverse plans, where people can live in an alternate reality. They can go into that alternate reality and they can make paychecks. They can earn money. They can they can buy real estate. You're already doing it now. There's Fortune 500 companies now that are already buying real estate in the metaverse. That tells you something. There's going to be a whole shift of focus in human consciousness from the real world, which sucks, into the digital world, where an 83-year-old man can be 17 years old again and fuck up everything in his life. Yeah. This is the world we're heading into. So Noahide laws could come back, but at the same time, people would feel very free because they're living in a digital reality. And the real reality doesn't really matter to them, especially Noahide laws, because they're living in 15-minute cities where they don't have to go anywhere to get anything. And they go 5 or 6 days without showering because they've been glued to this interface, this cerebral interface holographic reality. And it's more fun to them in the alternate universe than in the real universe. Not worried about Noahide laws because they never go anywhere. All their food is brought to them, groceries are brought to them, everything. This is the world we're heading toward. A lot of senior citizens are going to love this world. They don't move around a lot anyway. And the type of technology that Meta and Microsoft are developing is going to provide these people a whole nother world. It's escapism and population control at the exact same time. And it will be by a government that is absolutely puritanical Christian, super puritanical Christian, and at the same time pushing like Jewish Noahide law. This is the world we're moving into in the West, where Islam will be vanquished, but in the East, Islam will be victorious. And it will always be Judaism pulling the strings of both Christianity and Islam. Nothing ever changes, just the playing field. That's my presentation, guys. That's it. That's my presentation. You guys know it's my habit. I'll always go back through the chat later on. I'll always go back through the chat and check things out. But if you're new to my channel and you think this is the first time we've gone deep on these issues, you need to check out all my last live videos, like in the last 2 months. We have been going on another level. Because it's what we do. We read the field. We don't care about what the news says. We don't care about what social media says. We don't care about what all these captured operations, all these truthers out there that we know that are part of captured operations because they've changed their stance on things and it's inexplicable. And you know what? We don't care. We don't follow any of that. In reading the field, we stick with the historical record and calendrics. If it does not make sense with a calculator, we're not going to talk about it here. That's it. All right. And remember, Professor Zhang never said that he was a professor. I've been trying to figure out why Professor Dave doesn't come out and call out Professor Zhang for not being a real professor. I don't know why that hadn't happened. I can't figure it out. Yeah, man. I feel a whole lot better. That vertigo and lethargy I was feeling from that drink is gone. I feel so much better now. I do have a few drives left. I'm not making any more copies, guys. I've got a few drives left, and people have been hitting me up, but I've been giving real good super deals just to get rid of all my inventory so I can get back to my real life instead of doing all this, man. But if you want any of the drives, you can email me, archaics138@gmail.com. I do have one or two people to get into Cypher. I saw my emails. I just haven't got to them because I was too busy at the post office today. But meanwhile, I'm going to give me something to eat and then go back through my chat like I always do. Until then, I'm the digital Silver Surfer. ASM Future, another shout out.
Treasure bold through the loops my mind's enrolled, a future framed in silver and gold.